Hannes, jag har för lite kaffe. Jag måste hämta kaffe.
Då fyller jag också på. Welcome everybody to the Hypetrain podcast. My name is Hannes and I'm joined as always by my co-host, the Frodo to my Sam, Mr. Martin Molin. How are you doing, my dear friend?
Hello, Hannes. I'm doing very well as always now when I'm talking to you. I am proud because I get to be hungover on a Hypetrain podcast episode. That was always your role, and today's my role because I actually drank 4 glasses of rosé wine yesterday.
Oh, man!
I don't know why that got so hard to me. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm up. It's a morning version of the Hypetrain podcast, and it feels cool.
Monday morning. Releasing it the same day. So yeah, my energy level might be down the toilet, but let's try it anyway.
Why?
It's so early. I'm not a morning person. You know this. I work best at late afternoon.
Yeah, we're so funny when we're working together. I'm like up in the morning and I'm like trying to do some woot woot with Hannes, and he's just like looking at me like an angry cat. and then around midnight, Hannes is dancing like, should we film some more shots? And I'm like trying to keep my eyes open.
That's so good. Together we're covering the whole day. So like a two, what do you call it? 2 shifts in one. Yeah. Together we rule the world.
Together we got you covered. Cheers. We have coffee also.
Cheers. Yeah.
We had
essential.
We had averted an almost catastrophe. Right when we hit the record button, I realized that I didn't have coffee enough in my mug, so I had to run downstairs.
Don't forget that I had already started the intro, so you cut me off right in the intro for coffee. But now I'm glad you did. It would have been a disaster otherwise.
Sorry?
It would have been a disaster otherwise, so I'm glad you did it.
Oh, yes.
So why were you celebrating yesterday?
Now I'm on a mini staycation with friends and family here in France, and I joined a bike tour yesterday with the father of my girlfriend and his son-in-law, his other son-in-law, you could say, and those guys were killing me.
You sent some pictures. They looked pro bikers.
Yeah. I have like Tour de France level gear and non Tour de France level stamina. So no, honestly, it was magical because you go on these French mountain roads and then you swoosh through villages in these spandex clothing, like tight on your skin, and you feel like the coolest. And then like the third village you swoosh through, you just lean your bike against a plastic table and take an espresso, you know? And so we biked 67 kilometers, but that's really not telling the story because it's a lot of altitude changes. So it's like up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill. So in the end of this tour, we had 17 kilometers of downhill. So it's like 40 kilometers per hour rolling for like 17 kilometers, just rolling at the end of the day. And it's absolutely magical. And yeah,
Did you say 67 kilometers?
Yeah, in mountains.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's brutal, man. Wow.
It was
That's
brutal.
That's some perspective.
It's brutal. It was brutal in the sun, and I'm completely untrained. So it's one of the other guys were like going back and forth because he got a little bit tired of waiting. So he some of the climbs he did twice. That even things out a bit. So yeah, it's super fun. I have a super great bike now. My my girlfriend's father actually, he loves bikes, so he saw that I had a wrong gear, so he put on new gears on my bike. So my bike is like custom gearing now for the French mountains. So you have to have a really light gear to climb the steep inclines. And then you just sit and you go super slow like a snail up the hillside. So it's never flat. It's just snail climbing and then hold on for your dear life on this carbon frame. I'm so scared it will break in the descents, because everything over 40 kilometers per hour on a bike, you feel kind of unprotected.
Yeah. I've done that also, and it's really scary.
Yeah. You and me have to do it, Hannes.
Yeah, it's a dream I have. It would be so nice. The French mountains.
Yeah. But we had this dream our whole life to do the Swedish 4 races that compiles the Swedish Classic, it's called. It's like a ski race, a bike race, a swim race, and a running race.
Yeah.
And we even bought tickets to the competitions, and then we bailed out, didn't we? Badly.
Yep. But you know what? It's never too late to rise again. And I feel this is the turning point, perhaps. Let's not add too much pressure on us, but yeah, it would be amazing to do the Swedish Classic. It's a big dream.
This is the turning point.
It's usually a midlife crisis most people go through in Sweden. You need to do the Classic, so we're getting there.
This is the turning point when we're starting to talk about doing the Classic again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're planting the seeds at least. So let's keep watering it for a couple of years. See what happens.
No, I've been thinking, Hannes, I got shocked this morning. I got my screen time report on my phone. I'm the guy preaching dopamine restraint on internet, I have 8 hours screen time per day. What is that on my phone?
Yeah, but I also know when I hang out with you, you're the worst person I know with leaving your screen on. When you have read something on your phone, you just throw away the phone, and there you don't put on the screen lock or anything. So that could be a huge deal for it also.
So I can actually reduce if I just reduce the automatic shutdown of the screen time, maybe I half my screen time next week.
I think so. It was the same for me because I was also having extremely high numbers on that, and then I thought, okay, yeah, well, I just have it turned on the screen. Right now I just have it on here next to me because I have some bullet points here.
That's true. The reason I mention it...
Don't feel too bad. You probably overuse your phone, but not 8 hours a day, I hope.
Hannes is making me feel good about myself again. We're only 5 minutes into the podcast, and this whole dynamic has already started. I love it. Thank you. Yeah. The reason I mentioned it, Hannes, is because I felt when I was doing this bike ride yesterday, and when you come home, you have this the glass is just half full the rest of the day, and that was why I was celebrating. Actually, I just felt happy. I just felt like it was nice to be seeing something different, experiencing something different. And yeah, I think those kind of things away from screens, it feels it's strange because it feels like you're wasting time. It takes so much time. But it's when you come home from it, it feels like, I was actually living. I was actually holding on to a bike for dear life for 3 hours, And this is what I learned from you. This is what you do every day on your gym, isn't it?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
That's true. Beautiful.
Yeah. And you told me the great news 3 days ago about a new album just coming out.
Oh yeah, let's talk about some music. We never talk about music here. This is exciting.
What do you mean? I told the story about drone music experience.
Yeah,
that was a
true.
great music
But as
story.
you said, is that even music?
Shout out, by the way, to the person making the animatic of that story.
Oh, that was so cool. Then you know that we have dedicated listeners. And now we have finally made it with the Hypetrain podcast. We have somebody who has done some animation of that story. It was actually brilliant. Loved it. What was his name now? Hexa Blue.
Yeah,
It's on YouTube.
We will leave the YouTube link in the description, and shout out to Hexa Blue for making an animated version of the drone music story. I laughed so hard when I was watching it. It was brilliantly made.
Yeah. And my little cameos. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Cheers. Coffee break. Tell us about the new album.
Okay, yeah. So, me and Martin, we don't share the music taste that much. Like, I violently just assault his ears with my music sometimes. Like, okay, you need to listen to some metal here. You need to listen to some soundtracks here. But then, all of a sudden, we found something we both like equally much. And it's in the genre of retrowave / synthwave. And especially one band, a band called The Midnight, that you and me have been hooked on ever since our big German vacation we had earlier this year when we drove around in the Tesla on Autobahn just listening to retrowave music. And The Midnight just released a new album. And if you want to summarize retrowave, how would you do that? I guess if Stranger Things was a music genre, that would be retrowave. It's, of course, it sounds like 80s music, but it's done modern. And yeah, it's like a hybrid of like John Carpenter soundtracks and modern pop rock kinda. And especially The Midnight, they also focus on vocals, because mainly retrowave is instrumental, but they also have vocals. So there you have it. Wow.
You were anticipating this album, so it's called Monsters.
Yeah.
And it came out like 3 days ago. So what is your first impressions?
First impressions was, okay, it's a pretty slow album. And then I've listened to it about 8 more times. And now I really like it. It takes up pace at around track 6 or 7. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it actually. It's a perfect record just have in your ears when you're walking around. It's not that super party. It's, as usually, about lost love and reminisce about the past.
Perfect for...
Easily relatable. And all accompanied by the sounds of your childhood. Retro synths. Brilliant. Have you listened to it yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
I listened to it broken up, so I only heard it one time. I listened to it in my new focal monitors in my new music studio that has been evolving last week. So I started to actually get a really good listening sound, and I listened to it in the car, and it's the perfect music for the car, of course. And then, yeah, I have to say, I love it because I love how, I don't know, you can kind of feel the joy of making these songs. I think it's very interesting for me that I think they are kind of very laid back in their songwriting. It feels like
they're carefree.
Exactly, they're carefree, and I mean, they just released 15 new songs. How many songs did I just release? No, I really admire their sense of pop songs, and the sound engineering is great. The atmosphere is like perfect, and they had like there was one song which was only like a slow arpeggio, which I thought was kind of avant-garde because they did this like pitch shift with the tape, and the tempo just changes the whole song back and forth. And it's just like they dare to do these little more like challenging things
but
in the
still
middle of an album.
And still simple and easy to listen to. So it's not challenging you at all.
No.
It's just a thoroughly enjoyable moment for yourself.
Yeah.
And I remember you when we listened to them the first time, when you got hooked, you were so, this is so clean and pure, like the sound of it all. You really got hooked on how they kept it clean and nice. What do you mean by clean and nice?
No, so if you make a dish, like the most famous example is like meat and potatoes and sauce, you know?
Mm.
And that's how you can build drums, bass, and pad. Like that's the same thing. So they have, I don't know, it's like very clean production. I tend to overload my own productions, and instead they have kind of minimalistic music production ideals. So every sound counts. Every sound has its place. Every sound does its thing. And we were listening to my new speakers the other day. We were listening to John Mayer, for example. And it's the same there. It's like a band. You have a drummer, you have a bass player, and you have two guitar players, you know? And everything is needed. And it's so few sounds in the song, so you can hear details in each sound. And it's very elegant. And I have to say, I love his voice, the singer. I think it's so soft and just cozy and beautiful, actually. So, no,
and not perfect and a little bit frail. So that just makes it even better.
Relatable. Once again.
Relatable.
No, and I love this vintage synth sound. I just thought of a YouTube channel that I want to recommend for everyone that I was heavily into like a year ago. It's an Italian guy, and it's called Synth Mania. And he is a big proponent of Italo disco. And sometimes I think in synthwave and retrowave that Italo disco is actually a big part of what that was in the 80s. And he shows like how he has all the real synths from the era, and he shows how all the classic sounds were made, and he makes some songs of his own, and it's really good. So if you want to check out some Italo disco things, check out the YouTuber Synth Mania.
Yeah.
Super nice. I just thought about it. Now I'm super happy I'm gonna listen again to the whole Monsters album. What did you think of the title song, the Monster song?
That is probably my favorite song, actually. That's so simple yet so powerful, and it's 3 minutes long. So it's like they just get in there, do it, and get out.
Yeah.
And I love the female voice on that as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
I think, and of course the robot voice is pitch perfect. So it has everything I need.
Yeah. And
it's
the midnight
Prom Night, Fire in the Sky, Monsters, and Deep Blue. That's the 4 best songs on the album. In Deep Blue, you even get the dirty sax solo, so you get everything you want.
They saved it to like track 13.
Yeah. They go out kind of with a bang.
So the song that got me hooked was when we were doing a road trip on the Autobahn, and Hannes played the song Sunset.
Yeah. Easily like the Born in the USA arena version of retrowave.
Yeah. So if you want to like if you want like a one song introduction to their previous music, like you can always click that song and kind of get a good vibe for what they do. And it does feel like Monsters is a little more maybe mature version of the music. I don't know. So, and they're coming to Europe, you saw, in February.
Oh yeah, it's like this little glimmer of hope. Like you have almost the new norm now is that, nothing to look forward to. Everything is cancelled. But all of a sudden I just saw that they have booked a Europe tour from next March to May or something like that. So I just got all tingles in my whole body. Like, Martin, we need to go. What is happening? Are we allowed to go? So if the whole COVID situation settles itself, of course we need to go, Martin. That's gonna be amazing. And we have, like I sent to you, should we go to Stockholm or see them, or Paris? And the city of love sounds more proper for us, right?
The city of lust, love.
Brilliant.
Of course we're gonna see them in Paris. That feels right.
Yeah.
So fun. Looking forward to that. I'm so happy you introduced them to me. I made some retrowave tries when I did the video, my favorite snare sound.
Yeah.
I did some retrowave intro, and I'm thinking I have this like monster pad sound on my synth that I always like. I want to try to make a kind of a. I would like to make like this. If you think of Jan Tiersen's beauty in his melodies, imagine if I managed to cross that beauty with like the power of a retrowave beat. Wouldn't that be a nice idea?
I'm all in. Yes,
and, like,
please.
And also keep it like really serious. So it's like it could have a lot of darkness and a lot of beauty in it. So keep it like somber and serious and a little dystopian, but with a glimmer of hope. I would like to make some songs like that.
Yeah, well, I've heard a little track you did for this week's video, actually, which reminds me something of that, where it's a perfect hybrid of the like John Carpenter retrowave a la 2001 sci-fi-ish keyboard.
Yeah.
So people will have to look forward to that on Wednesday. Oh my god, that's gonna be really cool. I love that song you did.
That was an improvisation. Should we write that? Because people always when I make music like that, people always think that I've been sitting like composing it. Should we? And then I always feel insecure, like, should we write like on the screen, on the notes, this is an improvisation. This is not like a composition.
No. I think it's quite clear in the video, because it's all the way up to until you plug the keyboard in, and then the song just starts. So I think people are smart enough to understand that you have not been working on this for a couple of months. This was a spur of the moment thing.
Okay.
But you can underestimate the audience also. You never know.
Nah,
they believe what they see and hear.
No, it's true. You should also not like apologize for yourself. Leave the judgment to others. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Now it's gonna be so fun. So this Wednesday's video is about part 2 of 3 of my music studio installation. So on Wednesday you can see Olivier and the team from the acoustic company coming here and do a lot of things in the room, also preparing a lot for the next and final step. And I am connecting all my outboard gear, equipment to my studio desk. So my studio desk is starting to look like a real spaceship control station. It's
oh yeah.
I'm sitting at it right now, and I have to say it's a childhood dream to have a desk like this. It's really inspiring to make some music.
Yeah. How can I fill in that? Yeah, I've seen the material of it, and it's so cool. And you can tell immediately, like, okay, it's turning into, now we're getting to music slowly. Even with the new quote unquote live room in the room where you can cover the drapes and have like recording drums and stuff like that. Like only just seeing the room makes me think about music now in a whole different. It's not so sterile workshopy now. Now it's cozy music recording room all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, it's super fun, and installation 3 is going to be totally over the top. We have variable acoustics with panels that are moving, and it's going to be like it's equally over. My studio is as over-engineered as the Marble Machine X is over-engineered. It's like super fun. So yeah, we have that to look forward to. But on another note, Hannes, you have been doing an amazing week, haven't you, on exercise-wise? Because last week you actually took the 150 kilo bench press goal.
Yeah.
And after that, you have been steering your boat in a brand new direction.
Yep, time for some new goals. And I always knew that, okay, I will have this period to just train and get strong and build myself up. And the 150 kilo bench press was the last stop on that train. So now I'm still at the gym. And I will train really hard, lifting weights 3 to 4 times a week. But this first week now, I am starting to focus a lot more on diet because I am looking to cut about 25 kilos until sometime in the fall. So this week I have been doing a like resetting my brain week with food, like totally just getting back to basics of not every meal needs to be fantastic. Some days it's just fuel. So I did the really boring but helpful week of just eating. I've been eating nothing but chicken and broccoli for 1 week now.
Wow.
Like 3 times a day. Just to get enough protein and stuff like that I need, but cut out the carbohydrates and just slowly getting my brain used to eating less. And and on top of that I've also reintroduced intermittent fasting, where I just eat for a certain amount of hours per day. So when we're recording this, I get to eat in 1 hour. So I eat between 12 and 7 or 8 at night, and then I don't eat until 12 the next day. So yeah, this has been a really interesting week of just the first couple of days you're really low on energy, but then your body gets used to it. So now I actually feel quite good. And yeah, it's for me, it's a really good way to kickstart something and see the immediate change. And you see on the scale, like I haven't weighed myself today, but yesterday I had lost 4.5 kilos.
Wow.
And you always do that when you start a diet. You lose weight fast, but it's you get motivated to see those numbers go down. But it's a bit too fast. So I'm aiming for like 0.5 kilo to 1 kilo a week, perhaps in the future. But it's so nice to just start over and work on your relationship with food a bit. So that has been my week. And when I've been at the gym, I think I've worked harder than ever because I've been so low on energy. and workouts have been pretty big and pretty. It's a lot of exercises actually, and being so low in energy, I really need to push myself. So yeah, it's been wonderful, and and yeah, it does drain my energy quite a bit. But I get more and more of these spurs. Like right now, I'm so energized. You can feel. I feel the energy balance in my body is getting a lot better. I'm not as before this. I was like equally energized the whole day. Not very effective at certain points, just generally effective. But now I feel more like, okay, I have 2 hours now where I'm so pumped up right now. So I think, yeah, it's a good thing for my body actually to get used to this.
I think it's interesting that you said teaching. What did you say? Teaching your brain how to think about food. Not every meal has to be fantastic. It's just like fuel, and I don't know. It's the whole dopamine story all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's with everything. You need to remove those patterns and all those cravings you have, and like your brain is triggered to this is the new normal for you. Like that is what fat is on a body. It's just the body absorbs everything and just stores energy. Like, okay, we have more. Perfect. We have this when we're gonna starve later. So then the brain is triggered like, okay, we need to eat this much because it's available to us.
Yeah.
Just force it in so we can store some energy. And in our society today, we don't need to store this much energy. Like we have so much food everywhere and triggers everywhere to eat more and more and more. So just resetting your brain to because there's so many people that's always you need to treat yourself. You need to treat yourself. You need to eat nice. And yeah, of course, you should treat yourself, but you can't do it every day. And that's a pattern a lot of people get into. Like they sit there in the morning. Oh, what am I gonna eat for dinner today? I'm gonna treat myself. Then so every meal gets to be a big treat, and I think that's the wrong way to do it. Yeah, a couple of days a week where you really enjoy the food and you like go crazy and but some days it's just fuel, and it needs to be that way, I think, to have a healthy lifestyle, because that's how the humans have evolved, right?
I'm seeing Hannes the Stoic appear in front of my eyes. It's a super stoic thing. Like they are like, don't take pleasure in drinking. Don't take pleasure in eating. They were super suspicious about that mechanics. Like, I'm gonna eat. It's nice. They're like, as far as I understood it, it's like you can take more pleasure in actually declining a glass of wine by controlling yourself. You can take more pleasure in that action than actually drinking that glass of wine. And it sounds really bare and sounds really boring, but like what you and me, I think, where we really can relate to each other is that we are addictive personalities. I think most people are.
Yeah. It's in our nature.
Yeah. And we're also trying to somehow find meaning in our lives, and we're kind of trying to we think that we feel fulfilled when we do different achievements, and I think we figured out that like surrendering to our addictive personalities will reduce our chances of reaching like fulfilling achievements. So this whole thing that we're constantly talking about in our phone calls that have evolved into this podcast is like, how can we wrestle down the I should treat myself like short-term reaction, and how can we be a little more. I heard an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast about breathing. It's Styret from Gothenburg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing maker, musician, drummer, and shout out to Handlebar Productions. And he got super into this Wim Hof guy who is doing this breathing thing. Have you heard about Wim Hof?
I'd recognize the name.
So
enlighten me.
Yeah, no, I'm not anybody who can enlighten you on Wim Hof, but it's like, it's this whole trendy thing with you should bathe in ice cold water and then not breathe. But there's a real science behind it, and it's about deep divers who train their lung capacity to just enormous, like those are the fittest people on earth basically, because they can access all the oxygen in the air because their lungs are just built for it from training. Anyway, what I heard was there is this guru, as I understood it, who went into a cave for 30 years and just practiced breathing. He went to the cave and just practiced how to breathe by himself for 30 years. And then Joe was like, do you think people will be able to do that now when we have Netflix? And I thought it was really fun. I think, and this is a kickback to my bike ride I did yesterday as well. Like, my bike ride yesterday is nothing compared of the 30 years in a cave breathing, but it's a little glimpse. Yeah. And I think what you are doing right now is also an even bigger glimpse of maybe a more saner way to approach life somehow. And I don't know. That's why you are so inspiring, Hannes. I heard a lot of people who wanted, even my therapist started to lift weights after hearing you on our podcast. So
yes. Oh, that makes me happy.
Shout out to my doc.
Woot woot, doc.
Woot woot. No, man, I think this could be. I think we sense some kind of that there is some kind of power on the other side of this dopamine veil that we really want to access, and that's what we're trying to. That's why we're on this all the time. I thought it was interesting, this breathing thing. It's very trendy and it sounds horrible, but maybe like if we look long term after the mindfulness, maybe we can also jump on the breathing hype train.
Of course. Let's try it. Let's try everything.
That would be fun. Yeah. We have to read up on it a little bit. I have no clue what it is. I just thought it was fun with the Netflix thing.
Yeah, but it's a lot of like I mean, you think that going on diets and stuff like that is just, well, remove the food, eat what's in front of you, but it's 33 hours a day. It's a psychological battle.
33 hours a day.
Even when I'm sleeping, I'm battling.
33 hours a day.
Did I say 33?
Yeah. That was the best Freudian slip I've ever heard. This diet has added like 9 hours to Hannes.
I
9 hours of
solved
suffering.
It, you guys. Chicken and broccoli adds a day.
9 hours of suffering thoughts.
No, I mean, it's so you're just battling your mind the whole time. And it's the same thing when you try to cut out anything of a habit, even removing your phone. Like, your impulses is to, I need to check if something has happened. And the mind is exactly the same with food. The only thing that's so horrible with food is when you're trying to, let's say, detox yourself from it, you always need food. So even when you're trying to eat healthier, your body needs food, so you can't stay away from it completely. So and in those moments when you're really hungry, then it's a big battle in your mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, after a couple of days, you feel so proud of yourself that you actually have been able to do it. And I'm not advocating at all that everybody should go on diets. Let's make this clear. And I'm not a professional in any way. So if people get inspired by me to lift weights, that's awesome. But don't do all diet stuff because I do, because that's not for everyone. And I think diets can be really harmful also. I know what I'm doing now because I have done the research on myself, what I need to do. And if there's anybody listening who wants to try something, the best thing you can do, don't jump on any diet because someone else had success with it, because that doesn't necessarily reply to you, because everybody has different eating habits. So the best thing you could do is actually take a week and do a food journal where you just write down everything you eat during the days. And then you just summarize, and you can pretty easy see what it is that you eat too much of, because you want to have kind of a balance on let's say like carbohydrates, protein and fat. You need to have a balance of it. And when I did a food journal, I saw that I overeat carbohydrates like a maniac. Like I love pasta and rice and stuff like that. So I have it like 3 times the amount of carbohydrates than anything else. So for me, it's really easy to see, okay, I need to cut that out because that's what making me big. And sometimes you have a deficit of something, so you need to add something, and that will help to kickstart the fat burning process in your body. So my recommendation is to not jump on, let's say, keto diets or something like that because you have heard it been good for someone else. Just start out with just looking at what you're eating now, and you can probably see a pattern of what you're overeating. Perhaps it's snacks, perhaps it's fika in Sweden, you know. You need to have cookies to your coffee. And perhaps it's so easy to just cut that out and you're golden. So just, research what you're eating and then make a new plan. And don't crash diets work brilliantly for like a month, and then you get miserable when you cut out like everything and basically starve yourself. And you 95% of the time you gain all your weight back. So don't do any of those insane crash diets either. Do
It's
a
like
more healthy approach to it.
Yeah,
Please.
I love it, Hannes. This sounds like your training advice to start light with walking and stuff like. We're in it for the long run, right?
Yeah.
And everything has to go so fast, and it's always fast results.
I just need to add when it comes to, before I forget it, why the body reacts like it does if you do a crash diet. Say, if you basically starve yourself, or you like eat bare minimum for a month and you lose, say, 20 kilos, what happens then is your body has built up fat cells in your body, like when you're at your biggest. And then your body this is the new norm. So, oh, perfect. This is how we look now. We have a lot of energy. So when you lose 20 kilos, the body goes in panic mode because, oh no, we're starving. So when you start eating normally after a big diet like that, the body will do everything it can to just fill up the fat cells again. So it will immediately go to all the fat in your body. So you go back to exactly where you were, because the body that is the norm. Everything below that is starvation for the body. So you need to go down those kilos and then keep that for a pretty long while before that's the new norm for the body. So that's what happens when people go JoJo dieting. They cut out, they lose a lot of weight, and then they just gain it again.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing, our body, and it's annoying also. It doesn't understand what I'm telling it.
Now, but when I was going to compliment you about, it's the start light thing. Like, for example, the cutting out eating between meals. I do that as procrastination. So I'm working and it's 4:00 in the afternoon, and I'm like up against some kind of problem solving process that is not really rewarding in the short term. And I'm like, I feel like, and it's the same. I have the same need to go and play chess on chess.com as I have to go down and make like a sandwich. Like, I can go down and take something, you know? And for me, it's more of a problem of, I don't know, just it becomes a distraction. And once I'm like, I lose out, like I could do real useful work between 4 or 5. If I go down at 4:00 and take a sandwich, I come up and then I play a game on chess.com.
And it's nap time.
No, it's this whole domino effect. Hey, Hannes, it feels like I'm talking so much about this. I feel ready for some kind of new challenge because you are editing this week's building video. I have a lot of cool things to build on the machine, but then you are going on vacation for 2 weeks.
Oh my!
And I have a secret dream. Whoa, you sounded ripe for vacation.
I just got so... It feels so strange, but lovely at the same time. My vacation is just gonna be working out. So I'm gonna take time for myself, work out even harder. I have no specific plans. So just looking forward to that. I'm gonna play a lot of video games. I need to add that as well, people. If you're going on diets or try to cut something out, you need to play video games. I tell you, it's the best tool for losing weight.
So
you really need something to distract you. So find a good game. I would say something like Red Dead Redemption 2 or something like that, where you can spend 100 hours. And as soon as you had your meal, and you just start playing again. So you can ignore all your impulses to get snacks, and you start to feel a little bit hungry, but you can just push it away a bit. Focus on the video game instead. Love it.
So don't take any general advice, except everyone has to play video games.
Yeah, that's my demand right now. You won't succeed unless you play video games, okay?
No, but I wanted to, last episode of the Hypetrain podcast, we named it into accountability, which is what you and me provide for each other a lot. And when we try to like wrestle down our monkey brains, we basically tell each other about our ambitions to try to wrestle it down, and then we support each other and we check in with each other, and that's also really nice. And that's why sometimes it, like, I heard a funny joke, like there was a headline about this guy ran a marathon and didn't talk about it. I think it's so spot on, because we are exactly at the butt end of that joke, at the butt of the joke. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like that joke is about us, but the reason we're talking about it's to provide accountability for ourselves through others, and that's a really good trick. And I want to like take this moment to tell you that I am really appalled by my screen time, and you might be right that it's because the screen is on all the time when I'm away from my phone. I don't feel I'm on my phone 8 hours. I think that is part of the truth.
Let's just say you're on it way too much, but I think 8 hours is a little misleading, but still a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm. So what I want to do next week, I think what I'm going to do, I had this dream for a long time to spend like a week between Wednesday to just make a song, to just make some music, and I've been building hard for 4 months, and I have cool stuff to build, but when I get a little taste of my good new studio monitors, I was like, I want to mix something in these monitors. So I'm thinking this might happen or this might not happen. But I'm thinking I'm back from my staycation on Wednesday, or actually Thursday morning, the same day when you go on your vacation. So I'm going to try to put my phone off, like from this podcast until the next Wednesday video. So for 1.5 weeks, I've been taking care of most. I'm gonna stay, like I've been saying, like I'm gonna stay open for messages like in the morning every day, just to take care of things with Chris and with the
and my feedback,
team.
Please.
And your feedback, please. but then, yes, of course. But then I'm going to try to just make a piece of music, just whatever, and put it out in 1.5 weeks now as a music video.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
Me, on behalf of the entire Vintergatan community, I get goosebumps and so excited.
Oh,
this is beautiful. I would love that.
You hyping me up is beautiful.
Me going on diets is helping you write music.
Yeah, it's actually true, because I just feel the inspiration, and I think what really works for me is when I follow my own nose. I remember I had such a strong experience with Marcus from the drummer of Vintergatan. He has a wonderful band called Teleskärm. They have made an amazing album on Spotify. It's like instrumental music, super playful and amazing. And with his friend Matthias Gren, his friend plays like horns and bass. Marcus plays drums, and they both play synthesizers. And they came to my studio in the Swedish forests to record some vibraphone once. And when I saw these two guys interacting, there was like you and me doing a Hypetrain episode. One of them was like, should we try maybe this sound? And then the other guy was like, yeah! And then the other guy was like, maybe we should try this. And the other guy was, yeah! Woot, woot. And they were just, I told them, like, you're just going where your nose is pointing. That was my feeling. They were just going, okay, my nose is pointing this way, let's go that way,
Yeah.
Kind of like Midnight when they compose songs. And I think right now, my nose is pointing to, I want to see how smooth I can mix a kick drum. I need to kind of show people in the comment section that I'm actually that I'm actually a music producer, so they don't get so worried about my audio engineering decisions. That's not my main motivation, right? But I want to make something. I want to make hi-fi clean mix. That's like my main inspiration now. So I'm gonna we talked a lot in Vintergatan about music for your ears, and the album that we released with Vintergatan is not music for your ears, because it's a lot of harsh instruments, glockenspiel, vibraphone, accordion. They're all in the mid frequency, and when you listen to Midnight, they have like this nice treble and this big fat bass. You're like in a warm hang mat kind of equalized sound. And so that's going to be my challenge. Wait. I'm putting my phone. I have my phone here. I'm putting it off now, Hannes.
Oh, this is getting me so excited.
Phone is off.
This is really cool.
I think what happened with me is that I've been so since I became the project manager of the Marble Machine X project, I've been spending a lot of time communicating outwards. And I'm such an introvert, and I have like the best volunteering team in the like universe. I kind of think like what happens around the Marble Machine X with the whole Wintergatan community, the CAD team, everyone involved on this high level, taking this seriously, giving their time, heart, competency, and creativity just for free for my project is the most humbling experience of my whole life. And I love that whole process. And sometimes I also have the need to step away from being in the middle of that big hurricane of goodness, you know? And sometimes I don't give myself the... Like you said, you're gonna spend 2 weeks on yourself. I kind of want to do the same. So I'm not going to let the Marble Machine X dictate my week. I'm going to just see how well I can make a kick drum sound.
Yeah, go into it. We have talked about it a lot lately also. We need to focus more on having fun in between. So focus on yourself and focus on do something you want to do and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Do something for you, Martin.
Thank you, Hannes. You know, this what you just said got me thinking of the Lex Friedman challenge. Lex Friedman is the artificial intelligence podcast host. It's an amazing YouTube channel. He worked at MIT, so I think he gets all the people lecturing at MIT in for the podcast. So the guests in his show, the names of the guests are just crazy high level, and his interviewing technique is wonderful. So that's a shout out to the Artificial Intelligence podcast. It goes over my head at many times. And then all of a sudden, Lex, who is a like black belt jiu-jitsu, all of a sudden he puts out like playing guitar solo, talking about his pet, his toy pet. I actually have a fabric dog as well. Shout out to Slappo. It's been with me my whole life. He's been sleeping in my bed my whole life, so shout out to my dog. And so I don't know, I relate to Lex Friedman, and last week Lex Friedman put out he did this crazy training challenge, and I don't know, something in what you just said, yeah, because he did this training challenge with way too much pull-ups per day, so he injured himself. And then he had the whole comment section saying like, stop injuring yourself, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this. It's not good for you, it's not good for you. And then he made like this great speech about, if I need advice from a few people around me to push myself harder, I don't need to hear that I should be easy on myself. And that's exactly what you said, Hannes, in the beginning of this podcast. Everyone says, treat yourself. That's what you hear all the time. And like from you, I'm not getting that. From you, I'm getting, yeah, you should push. You should push. You should not quit the Marble Machine X. You should push.
Yeah.
And that's the best friends, you know, when you get not only yes, and please be careful with yourself and don't go too hard, but instead like, no, go harder. Oh, I don't know if that makes sense. Did it make sense?
It makes sense. I know what you're talking about. And I love hearing this. The last couple of weeks I've noticed a big change in you, so I'm thoroughly enjoying this.
What
ever since you started, when you have really, with all the training and stuff like that, you have really been doing it. And now you've taken 5 days off, enjoying yourself, having 4 glasses of rosé.
Mr. 2 bottles of rum per weekend.
No. Don't go there. I can do that now when I'm dieting.
I said it in appreciation and awe. I said it in appreciation and awe. No,
I need to say that also. Of course, I'm treating myself, because diets and relationships with food can be so toxic also. So I don't want to have a real trouble-filled relationship with food, and like always saying no, I can't go out drinking this weekend because I'm on a diet. Yes, you should also live, but it's you need to have those two things apart. Of course, you need to live and have fun, but you can't do it every day. That's only when you're on tour, Martin. That's when we get to live every day.
But you said to me in a phone call last week, you said, Martin, actually when I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of bad at just having fun, like really putting time off to do stupid fun things. And then we talked about sorry for mentioning this every podcast, but Mr. Elon Musk, who I talked about the stock last week, and the stock has exploded during this week because of the S&P 500 rumors. So it's crazy. And then Tesla released the shorts, which has been a joke that Elon started 2018, which is a joke on the people betting against the Tesla stock. And now they released them in the Tesla merchandise store for $69.420, and it's just, you know, it's just this like CEO who loves memes and just like executing on his meme part of his business. Like
he goes where the nose is pointing.
Exactly, Hannes. He has fun. He does this while having fun, and I think this is how he survives his workload. So he has his islands of relaxation by making these jokes up. And this is what I am worse than you. Like you are the fun of, you bring all the fun in my life. Without you, no, it's not true. But you bring a lot of the fun in my life, and like the Hypetrain podcast is like our attempt of loosen up our Swedish rigidness.
Yeah.
And so I feel like frivolous if I'm gonna spend like a week recording a kick drum, but I'm gonna do it.
Yes. Oh, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's so cool. The evolution is starting. Something's happening. You're evolving.
I'm scared. I'm so scared, Hannes.
No, don't be. Don't be. It will be magical. And you talked about earlier, you've been spending a lot of time communicating and being an introvert and everything, and it really needs to be said, like I believe it or not, I'm also extremely introverted. Like, okay, it seems like I have a easy time getting along with people in crowds and stuff like that, but it drains me of so much energy. And that's the whole thing. If you are pretty introverted and you need to spend the whole day just talking to people, being social, it drains you. Your energy gets depleted pretty fast. Like, I'm terrible at keeping up contact with people, because if I'm to stay focused and say edit this week's video, I can't go on to Discord or Facebook or anything like that, because after I've been doing 20-30 minutes of communicating, I'm pretty drained actually. So yeah, I totally get where if you're spending a whole day communicating, there's not much energy left to build or do anything fun. So as with dieting, having a stricter way of communicating might be a good way for me and you to have that. Okay, we have this hour where we do that stuff and then leave it.
Yeah, for some reason with me it comes with a lot of guilt. I have this feeling I should be available for everyone who can reach me, kind of. But I also have this fear that if I'm just like closing myself into my own little world of imagination, I will have come out and there will be zero friends. So like like but of course the best friends, the best relationships are the relationships that you don't have to nurture. They're like an atomic fusion reaction that is ongoing by itself. You don't talk to each other, and then all of a sudden your paths are crossed again, and you just take it up from where you left it. That is the best relationships. So
Absolutely.
and they will just be strengthened when you when you take care of yourself, because you will be a more fun person to be with when you come out of your little imagination shelter place.
And geniuses like us,
Yeah.
when we focus on something, we focus 110%. So when you're jumping between tasks all the time, it's hard being invested in everything all the time. So to structure the workload a bit is the way to go, I think, if we are to continue being this awesome as we are.
I'm Googling something here about this.
Awesomeness?
No. I remember reading a big scientific experiment. I think it was done in the Microsoft Office like 10 years ago or something. So they did this big test while they sent out an email, and they also sent out a signal to all the employees to go and read that email. So stop what you're doing, read this email. And then they measured what people were doing after reading that email. So they were working on something, they got interrupted with the order to read the email, and then they measured the time people spent after the email, getting coffee, after being done with reading the email, getting back to the task. I think this is called something like switching cost. And they calculated that this kind of switching cost, when you have been diverted in your attention, is like causing half of the BNP, it's called in Swedish, half of the value of the United States of America per year or something like that. It was like some like mind-bogglingly big number. And I think that's what we're talking about here, because since we are so connected, the internet is such a blessing, and I'm so tech friendly. I think we can save humanity with tech, not in the spite of tech. But we have to really learn how to use it to not take down our creative peaks. And I think this switching cost example from the Microsoft Office, this is how I feel with the communication that we're just talking about. It looks like just a little question and a little answer, but it's actually a whole mindset shift. Like, am I trying to make the world's nicest sounding kick drum, or am I solving a communication issue about another thing? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
And switching between those two worlds is difficult, really difficult.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So that was what this person who went into the cave for 30 years, he was like, nah, not gonna switch, I'm gonna learn how to breathe. And he learned how to breathe, you know?
Oh, you know what? I really need to go out and take some walks. The new walking challenge just started today, and I'm already falling behind, I think. So I really need to end this recording and go out and walk.
You're ditching me for a walk. It's okay.
Yeah. You had me for an hour, man.
That's not enough. It's never enough. I get a little taste of it. I want more.
It's beautiful. The new step challenge just started today, and I love them so much. The people are so positive, and they have already made me go out on so many extra walks because I don't want to end up last since it's me hosting the challenges. So this is Monday. If anybody hears this today, you can actually join. Let's add the info in the description if somebody wants to go out on walks with me digitally.
That's some nice accountability in works right there.
Of course. Well, Martin, it's time to arrive at the station, whether we want to or not.
Another hour. Oh, sorry.
This train really picked up speed. I enjoyed this episode so much. Maybe the morning show is the new thing. We both are a little bit tired. We really saw the magic of the hype train this day.
You think?
Yeah. I started not feeling anything, and now I'm so hyped to just take over the world.
That's quite a hype. I'm just shooting everything down.
Did you derail?
Yeah. No. It's the dirtiness about talking about yourself for a full hour again. It's like this Nordic noir.
It just strengthens me now. Right now, I think I'm the most interesting person in the world.
Actually, yeah. You have the same spirit as the midnight composers. So yeah. I have to learn from this.
Wow. Well, thank you, Martin, for this chat. It was as beautiful as ever.
Thank you, Hannes. Love it.
Let's do it. Chuga.
Perfect.
Wow.